Hey guys, Jacob Wynn from the Tripod here, where we break down the NFL every week, give you best bets and why. Last week, week 14, went 4-5 on best bets, and what annoyed me, if I have to be honest, is I picked 6 games, had the side that covered in 4 of them, but just that one game really, the Chargers, who were underdogs, I got 2 great plays on them, getting a first half handicap plus 1.5. They close a favourite for the game, played them on the team total as well. They win the game as an underdog, but they weren't within the 1.5 first half. They didn't score 24 points. So we got 0-2, which is annoying when you're on an unpopular underdog that wins. And even yesterday, the Chargers played again. They were an underdog again. No worries. Led by 7 at halftime, scored 30. So thank you very much, Anthony Lynn. But that's punting at the end of the day. Drops us to 50-39 for the year, which is 56%, which again isn't great. But honestly, there's plenty of people in the world that will be charging you if they can hit 55% in the NFL. It's a very tough sport to beat, as I say, every single week. Now, special week this week. So we've got 3 rounds left, weeks left before the playoffs. So it's really heating up. But they've also got a couple of Saturday games in America, which is Sunday in Australia, and that's the first time this season that we've got Sunday action, which is pretty special for those of you, especially that have to be at work on a Monday when most of the action is taking place. So I've actually got a special Wide World Bet of the Week. If you watch Wide World of Punting, which is my weekly punting variety show on a Wednesday, I outline that. I'll outline it again in a minute. But let's look at the 2 games. First of all, it's the Bills at the Broncos. And the Bills are one of the hottest teams in the league. And I actually have been on the Bills for us the last couple of weeks. I've seen it coming. I think they are a real contender. I don't know who can beat the Chiefs in the AFC. But the Bills are playing some good ball, both sides of the ball. Josh Allen in great form, and the defense is actually quite underrated. Now, Broncos are still playing hard, and at this time of year, a team that's out of the playoffs, you can't say that for everyone. They're at home. I would like the Bills, but money's coming for the Broncos. This line was 6.5 a day or 2 ago. Now it's down to 5. I'm not going to buck against the market there, but I am combining a play in this game in my Wide World Bet of the Week. I'll get to that. The nightcap on the doubleheader is the Panthers at the Packers. The Packers are a -8 point favourite. And firstly, let me say, here's my first best bet. So taking the Packers team total over 29.5, it's $1.91 on Ladbrokes and Neds. And the Saints losing last week has opened the door for the Packers. That's got to give them a massive boost. I think I've explained in previous weeks, the playoff seeding is different this year. There's an extra spot for the wild cards, but there's only 1 bye. So being that number 1 seed, so often we see the teams that succeed in the playoffs are the teams that got to have the bye, the extra week off to refresh and obtain home field advantage through the playoffs. The Packers now control of their own destiny. Not only that, Aaron Rodgers is playing some of the best football of his career, and he was questioned whether he was among the absolute upper echelon QBs after a couple of down years. Man, he's got it going. Devontae Adams, just unguardable. The whole offense is clicking. And Rodgers has openly come out and said that he likes being in the MVP discussion, and he thinks he's going as well as he has in his career. And for a guy who some people were saying could have been the GOAT, he's still only kind of stranded on 1 Super Bowl ring, but they're sniffing it this year, knowing that they're favourites now to take out the NFC. I can't see them letting this game slip. They're historically very strong at home. It's not just about the crowd, it's about the unique surface at Lambeau Field. I just think they're going to run up a ton of points against Carolina, who do have a bit of an inexperienced defense that have never really been a strong defensive team. So I think Aaron Rodgers puts on a bit of a show. I definitely think the Packers are going to score a ton of points. So that's where I like the team total over 27.5. It also plays very nicely into my Wide World Bet of the Week, which is the Panthers to outscore the Broncos. They're playing in the 2 separate games, but lose. In other words, I'm taking the Packers to win. I've explained why. I think they have a big game. Can't really see them losing that one, and they are like a $1.25 favourite. But the thing is as well, I do like the Panthers offense. I've spoken about the offensive coordinator, Joe Brady, very innovative. Teddy Bridgewater is a very capable QB that they've signed there. And the Packers can give up garbage time and backdoor points as well. I think the Panthers can't stop the Packers, but they can still score with them. I could see this game being quite high scoring. If we rewind back to the Bills at Broncos, the Bills' defense is elite, and maybe people don't quite see that because they got smoked by Tennessee. That was a terrible spot for them. They only knew for sure they were playing Tennessee the day before the game because of the havoc COVID had wreaked with the schedule. That also affected them in putting them in a terrible spot when they played the Chiefs, and the Chiefs ran up a score on them as well. overall, I think they're really coming into their own. And, in cold weather, I think that really suits this team too. And it will be cold in Denver. Whereas Denver's like a very inconsistent team. I know they've put up plenty of points in certain games. If you look back, you'll find a lot of those points they did rack up were also garbage time. I'm not a big believer in Drew Lock. I think they're playing hard, as I said before, which if anything means if they're going to make this game competitive and cover the +5, they're going to play well defensively and they're going to play well on the ground. So the maths behind my Wide World Bet of the Week at $4 and why I believe it's value, and jump on Top Sport if you want. And I think I've said before that Top Sport sponsors my weekly show and supports the pod. So if you can use the sign-up code TRIPOD, TRIPOD, that helps me out as well. And it is worth it. I'm getting one of these bets every single week, trying to always find something that's good value and gives us something exciting to cheer for over the weekend. As well as you guys know now, I give out best bets on Top Sport, including utilizing the $2 lines. So basically, really simply, there's a higher total in the Panthers Packers game. I see it as a higher scoring game. I think we've got more than a 50-50 chance that the Panthers will score more than the Broncos. So fair odds on that would be like $2. But I also think the Packers are very likely to win against Carolina, maybe like an 80% chance. Now, there's inverse correlation, which gets tricky here, that if the Packers definitely win, which they have to, it would then mean Carolina would probably score a little bit less in general, typically. But I still think even if Carolina scores more than Denver, I still think the Packers win that game, at least 2 out of 3. So if I've got a 2 out of 3 and a 50-50, it becomes a 1 out of 3 chance, but we're getting $4 odds. That means in the long run, we'll be ahead playing bets like this. It doesn't mean this one's going to win, but it gives us something to cheer for in the first game, cheer for low scoring and unders for Denver, and then we cheer for a high scoring Green Bay win in the second game. So jump on that if you like. Also, my best bet on Packers over. Next game, the Bears are at the Vikings. Vikings are -3-point favorite, and I do have a best bet. Vikings -3 at $1.86 on Bet365. Look, I lost against the Bears last week. Arguably, that's when they decided to put up their best performance of the year. I still don't trust them to bring it week to week. Now they're on the road. And this is me believing Minnesota is the clearly better team in my eyes with more to play for. Now, a disappointing loss last week for them at Tampa, but Tampa's a very good team. It does not eliminate Minnesota from the playoffs. I think if they win their final 3 games, they're like a 90% to make the playoffs. So the season's very much alive. They could even drop a game between now and then and still make the playoffs, but they can't drop this one as a home favorite. And if you look back at the Tampa game, which I watched closely, they lost by 12. They easily could have won. They had such an awful showing from their kicker, Dan Bailey, who was once, I think, highest accuracy kicker in NFL history. I think he cost them about 12 points with the amounts of misses he had and demoralized them, and they still could have covered late in that game. So I think that might mask the fact that the Vikings are actually playing pretty good football. We've got the better coach here with Zimmer. We've still got Dalvin Cook, who's just on fire running back. And look, you've got the better quarterback in Cousins versus Trubisky. So would I be worried about the Bears' defense? Of course, a little bit, but I think that can be negated by good coaching and a good offense that the Vikings have. I think the Vikings win this game and cover the -3. Another interesting game, the Bucs are at the Falcons, and I do have a best bet. I'm going to take the Falcons +3.5 in the first half, $1.89 on Sportsbet. And I do, as I said before, think Tampa are a very good team. I massively respect them. You know what? I wouldn't be shocked if Tampa makes a Super Bowl in the NFC, honestly. But having said that, it was a bit of a misleading win last week, just in terms of that margin, really not deserving to win by 12. And I don't think this is a great spot for them. Their blindside offensive lineman is out. Rojo, who's been killing it at running backs, out with COVID. So now you're going to rely on Fournette, who's been very inconsistent to say the least. This feels to me like a game they come into Atlanta just trying to squeeze it out. Now, the Falcons, you might look at them as being a dead team now. Can't make the playoffs. Lost last week through the game away against the Chargers. Julio Jones probably shut down for the season. But it's a division rival game. You're at home. You're playing Tom Brady, who the Falcons have a little bit of history with. This could be their Super Bowl. And Falcons are often seen as a really good offensive team with a very liability defense. The defense has actually played quite competitive, and we know Matty Ice can move the ball. And the point is, if you're betting on Atlanta in this game, you're thinking they're going to bring the effort. That's why I like getting at them in the first half, even if the class of Tampa Bay takes over. we might still cover and be within that field goal in the first half. Here could be a ripper of a game. The Kansas City Chiefs are at the Saints. The Saints are +3 underdogs. My best bet, the Chiefs team total over 27.5, $1.94 on Unibet. And as I say, this could be an absolute ripper and could be the Super Bowl preview as well, for sure. I absolutely think the Chiefs will be there. And I mean, I've been on them for the last 2 years. I've never really wavered from telling you guys I think the Chiefs are the best team in the world. But the Saints are very good as well in the NFC. And while they lost last week, they get back Drew Brees this week. And that makes this game could be an absolute cracker. Now, what did we see out of the Chiefs last week? We saw the kind of what's been typical of them all year. Down 10-0, all right, put our foot on the gas. Now we're up 30-10. Looks like they could win by however much they want. Then they let up again, and in the end, the Chiefs were only up 6, needing to convert a third down late in the game. To otherwise they risk losing it. So just seen it numerous times. It really feels to me like the Chiefs are toying with teams. And it might feel a bit square to just take them as a field goal favourite on the road against an elite opponent. But this is the game where I think they turn it on and they put an all-in performance in. Now, I know I'm going to be going against a couple of offensive line injuries, and I don't usually like to do that because I think sometimes the market doesn't understand the weight of some offensive line cluster injuries, especially if they're players that aren't household names. But call me square, I just think, Pat Mahomes and the playmakers he has and the coaching that they've got, they just know how to get it done on offense, and we can play them to score, over 27.5 points. This team can do that in a quarter against some teams, and even against a good Saints team can do that in a half. And I made the whole case about how Aaron Rodgers wants to come out Saturday night prime time and put himself firmly in the MVP discussion because he's still seen as the outsider to Mahomes right now because the Packers have 3 losses, the Chiefs just 1. But he knows that if Rodgers comes out and throws, a bunch of touchdowns on Saturday night and then the Chiefs let this game slip, suddenly everyone's going to be saying Aaron Rodgers is the MVP. So Mahomes will probably have something to say about that. MV Patrick, I think he comes out and shows out in this one as well. So it doesn't even matter to me that the New Orleans has a great defense, great defensive coordinator. I'm happy to be on an offense that I think is historically great. I mentioned Brees is back for this one, which I actually think helps motivate Kansas City that they want to score every drive. They want to test themselves against the best. Now, the Saints will be without all-world wide receiver Michael Thomas, and I think that hurts the Saints' ability to keep their own drives alive. I don't think it necessarily means that the Chiefs are going to let up. Now, last year, a Super Bowl contender in the 49ers went into the Superdome and played the Saints, and the 49ers had an epic defense, as we know. The Saints were a very good defense. The final score was 48-46, and this game just has that kind of vibe to me that I wouldn't be shocked to see an absolute back-and-forth shootout, so I would definitely lean overs, but the team that I have more confidence in to put up the points is the Chiefs, which is why I like them over their team total. And that will do it for week 15. So I've got a handful of best bets I really like this week. I've got the Wide World Bet of the Week, which is a value play, as I say, at $4 odds if you're interested in that. If you want to know about any of the other games, which I don't have a strong enough play on, but if you want to chat about my opinions on them, hit me in the comments or share your own plays. Have a great holiday period if you are on holidays or you're about to be soon, and enjoy the games on Monday, and tomorrow as well, Sunday, and always gamble responsibly. Cheers, guys.